So we're still here at the Hybrid Fitness Stadium after Merstham fell to a narrow defeat against second in the league, Cray Valley, today. It was 1-0 and it took something special to break the deadlock as well, to be fair. I've been joined by the manager, Jamie Decruz. Jamie, how do you feel about today's performance? Is it a frustration, or is it the fact that you came up against a good side? And to be fair, did acquit ourselves, but we didn't quite get over that final hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know they're a really, really good side, and you can see the quality they've got in their team. They quite quickly worked out what our intentions were, and obviously, you know, then got the message over to try and exploit that, which first half I thought they'd done really well in terms of getting loads of balls into our boxes, and, you know, they were trying to play in the spaces, which, you know, they got an element of success. First half I looked at it at half time and thought, you know, they obviously had the ricochet clearance which hit the post. I think Endo made a good save. And barring balls into the boxes, we were defending okay. Didn't have a threat enough going forward, so it made it easier for them to keep momentum on their side, and they did. Second half, we obviously have the chance straight after half time. Ollie Kinder gets in an unnatural position, but works the keeper. And then I think they probably notched it up a gear for the 25 minutes where they got their goal. And listen, it was a great goal. To say it'd be undeserved wouldn't be fair. They were certainly knocking on the door, and, you know, Endo made a string of saves. And then as the game goes on, typically 10 minutes to go, we create, you know, 2 or 3 really good opportunities where their keeper again's made some good saves. So, yeah, I think they would have been disappointed if they never got the win. But at the same time, I think we stayed in the game as long as we could. I think if you open up against a side with that much quality, you'd probably get hurt, and there's that always, you know, cat and mouse analogy in terms of jumping too early. But then if we had nicked Sank at the end, people would have said it was a master plan. So, yeah, football, but, you know, the better team on the day won.
It did take something special to beat Endo in the end. Just a word on his performance today, because he made 6 or 7 outstanding saves to keep us in it, didn't he?
Yeah, his kicking was rubbish, terrible.
It was, to be fair.
He's hit you more times than he's kept it on the pitch, but he knows that. And if he could kick, or if he could kick more consistently better, he would, he'd be even better. But, yeah, some brilliant saves. Endo's capable of that. He's done it since he's come in, hasn't he? Made some really, really good saves. And, yeah, he definitely comes away with a pat on the back.
Yeah, good stuff. 3-5-2 today. I believe that was the formation at Chichester on Tuesday as well. Could you just give us a little bit of an insight as to why you've changed the formation? Is it a point of HP coming back in, or is it just something you wanted to try?
Yeah, we've done it at Herne Bay away actually as well. So we've done it a few times. You know, we try and look at who we've got available and the best way we could set up. We felt, you know, in terms of the back three, they're big lads and they're fairly hard to necessarily, you know, you put balls in and they can deal with them. We also thought, you know, we haven't had as much from our wide players. You know, Lorenzo done brilliantly when we first come in, but he also had Bill supplying him, and obviously since that's been a miss almost, you know, Benny on the left works incredibly hard. But yeah, we just felt we'd get maybe more from wing backs. We think Drew Malloy, I thought he's on the whole really, really good today. I think he's got that athleticism to get up and down. Obviously Harry Murphy weren't here today, and I think Ollie Kinder, who, you know, for me, he's played in 4 different positions for us, and I think he does exceptionally well anywhere he plays. Ollie Kinder, he's honest. Bit of a nosebleed moment up there in the box. He's had a few of those so far, but yeah, just, you know, we're trying to not be too predictable. We thought we got found out a little bit in terms of teams knowing send 3 on Lorenzo, or, you know, double up on those players. But yeah, we're trying to keep teams guessing, and, you know, I look at it today and think, for the 3 at the back defended well. Thought we had good bodies in midfield. Thought the wide players, the fullbacks, done a really good job considering often they were, you know, underloaded. I didn't feel we got enough from the forward too, and that isn't, you know, that's not me talking about necessarily personnel. I just don't think we had enough stretching them the other way, because I think if we could cause havoc going up that way in the way we set up today, everything changes. Distances become bigger. We can start getting up the pitch more. A nothing ball can become a something ball. But yeah, it didn't. So
I was going to ask you about that. Do you feel like there was a bit of a disconnect between the midfield and the strikers today? Because it seemed like Tom and Lorenzo were kind of, you know, playing their own little furrow up there, but coming up against Oshalaja and Lee, they didn't get a lot of change out of them, did they?
No, I don't think many forwards would get a lot of change out of those two. They're good players as a whole unit. Defensively, they're really good. tough, with injuries, and we keep speaking about it, but Ben Senior dropped out because of his knee against Chichester. Corey's first game in 5 weeks because of his problems, injuries. And obviously Will's currently concussed, so yeah. It's just,
Is it what still? Is he still wandering around like this?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, actually, he never actually felt that well in the week, so we advised he went to doctors and protocols. So yeah, I mean, what we talking there? Three forwards who, I look at our top goal scorers this year. 2 of those are in the top 3. So yeah, but listen, we know that, and that isn't to discredit Tom and Lorenzo. I thought they worked incredibly hard for the majority of the time about the ball, and I think if you put most players up there, they would have struggled, but they both done the best they could. So
yeah, definitely. Just thinking ahead, then, doesn't get any easier. The league leaders next week away, but they play on an artificial pitch, which might be a leveller for us because we like to play good football. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we played as well. I don't think we played good football today for whatever reason. Lack of bravery because you're against good players. There was some phases where we moved it quite well, but not enough for me, not consistently. We would have looked at Cray and Ramsgate, and I'll be totally honest. I'd rather be playing those 2 now than the last 2 games of the season. So I think we've got to take positives from today. We go to Ramsgate with those positives and try and equip ourselves as well as we can, and then we know we've got 13 games remaining. 14 games remaining, and we know we've got to win games. The positive would have been, if I'm correct, we would have played the top 6 to 7 all home and away. Is that right? Cray, Ramsgate, Sittingbourne. We won't go through everyone. Lancing. So I think we've played the majority home and away, and then we've just got to focus, full steam ahead for me on those 13, 14 games. Go and win 4 or 5 of them, and we should be in a good place. And if we equip ourselves the way we did today against Chichester, we won't be far off. We won't be far off at all. I believe that. I genuinely believe we'll be fine. But let's start doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a welcome sight to see Mr. Oram come off the bench today, Billy. It's a bit of a whirlwind, isn't it? I mean, his crowdfunder went through over Christmas, gained good traction. He had the operation early Jan, and he's back on the pitch early Feb. I mean, you must be very pleased.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, thanks again, everyone, because without your contributions, and by the way, most of those were Merstham people, supporters, directors, players, management, Billy wouldn't have been in that position to afford that. So thank you, everyone. Of course, he's a good player and a big player for us, but actually, I know someone well in Billy, and I know how much he's obsessed with football. So the inability to work, and I've seen it first and foremost with my brother, who done his ACL, so I know the psychological state it can put you in, especially when there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Right. At first they were saying NHS 2026, 2025, so you're looking at a couple of years away, and yeah, we managed to do the unthinkable in terms of raising that money and then getting him repaired. Today was probably a bit too early for Bill. Unfortunately, our bench was patched up, to say it, and it was almost, we risk assessed who the best players. But to be fair to Bill, Bill's done everything to try and get himself. He's in the gym every day. He's seen Steve Allen, who's been phenomenal with him, and a few others. But I think with Bill, we'll take it a couple of weeks at a time and try and grind back in. But to have Bill back for potentially the last 13, 14 games of the season is a massive boost to everyone. And really grateful that we've managed to do that for him.
Yeah, good stuff. Just one final question for me. So moving away from today, just in the cold light of day now, you've been able to reflect on it. What on earth happened at Broadbridge Heath that Tuesday night a couple of weeks ago where there was 12 goals and we ended up coming away with a point?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at their results since, they've actually done okay. I think they might have won today, and they beat Three Bridges in the week. So they're clearly not a bad side. I didn't think they were a bad side. The Merstham way, I guess, 2-0, 3-1. I must admit, and I'm not one to ever really blame, I try not to blame conditions. Their ground is in between a motorway and the field. Have you been there?
No, I've not been there.
And I just feel like, I don't know, I just felt like there was wind on the day, bad winds. I think if we were here, it's not maybe as bad because you got a little, but it was just so open. First 20 minutes until we scored, the ball spent most of the game off the it weren't on the pitch. And then I just think once it becomes 3-1, 4-3, I just think it goes into a frenzy. And again, we look back at with a little bit of disappointment because, you know, we felt we were the better team and we felt like we could have won it. But listen, it was one of those games. And you've actually only got to look this week. I think South Park played, I can't remember what the score was, 5-4 against Westfield. Right. So, that, you know, and I think it's got to that stage now where teams are trying to win games of football. And, you know, I'm glad we came out of there with something. We certainly wanted to win the game. But, yeah, crazy game. Naivety on our behalf for not playing the conditions better, managing the game better. I just put it down to one of those games. I've never been involved in a 6-6. I've been involved in a 4-3 here. Yep. But yeah, just put it down to one of those games, I think.
I mean, you must have been fuming when they scored just in added time, but then Ben went up the other end and popped one in, didn't he?
It was honestly the worst game I've ever been involved in. Absolutely hated it. From the first minute, I had Chris and Paul behind me, and I wish I could have gone and sat with them because when you work so hard on what you want and, you know, what you play football, you know, why we coach and for it just to be mayhem. But let's be fair, we've seen at the top level in the Prem Champion, it happens, don't it? You do get those games. So it's what makes football entertaining. I just wish we come out of there victorious, but yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, best of luck next week at Ramsgate, mate. We're all behind you.
Take care.